our first member of the Young Curators program who will be presenting today, and that's Taylor. Taylor, I'm going to stop sharing my screen if you want to share yours.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Just want to make sure I'm sharing the right thing. Okay. Okay, well, hello, my name is Taylor Daugherty, and I will be presenting on healing through our beauty. This is a topic that I've just been interested in for a long time, my own personal journey and the collective journey, especially of African-American women, and it's influenced the type of art that I've created so far and that I want to create going forward. Let me go. Okay, so first it's just a video of my personal hair journey. Really cute pictures of me when I was a child, but my journey has been so personal to me. I started off with very thick, coarse hair, and from a mother who didn't necessarily have the same type of hair as me. So it influenced how I felt about my hair very early on in life. Spending hours in the beauty salon, waiting to get my hair permed or pressed to look what was quote unquote presentable. And what was accepted by my culture was a really, I'm just gonna play this again so you guys can keep on saying it while I talk, really influenced how I felt about my hair and how I felt about hair in general, and my ability to do my own hair. So starting off, I didn't do my hair at all. I went to the salon all of the time. And then when I was a teenager, I was just really interested in coloring my hair, different things. So I stepped out on my own and I decided to learn to start doing my own hair. And it really had a big impact on how I felt about myself, building my self-esteem, and getting more involved with my culture and understanding how much hair means to us. In a meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago, Kiki mentioned the amount of time that she spends on her hair and hair salons and how that's a journey, and it really connects women in general, but specifically Black women. As I said before, I've spent hours in the salon with my mom and my aunts growing up. We used to pick up the hairstylist on the way to the salon so that we could get out at a reasonable time and still would be there all day. But the biggest thing about that was I didn't just feel like I wasted time in the salon. I was surrounded by older Black women that felt like they were a reflection of me and what they could, deal with, the things that they could deal with, and come into that space and kind of be relieved from that, the things they could get through. And they were just like role models to me. So it was, and I think it is still an opportunity for young Black women to see so many different versions of who they could be. So that's why I think there's so many different ways that you can heal through your beauty, and that's one way. Just the conversations and the type of release that you get from being in those types of settings growing up and as you continue as an adult. Actually, I'm going to go back. So as part of my journey, when I started doing my hair myself, I actually started making wigs. I started doing braids, and I actually started doing other people's hair. And part of that was me becoming a wig stylist at a hair salon, which really influenced how I saw it from the stylist perspective, and the fact that we're really changing people's lives and how they view themselves and how they feel about themselves. And in some circumstances, I was in a space where money was the reason that the person was doing it, and it showed in the type of work that they did, how they treated their clients. So it influenced me even more to make it more of a personal situation, a personal experience, and kind of not just learn about what Black hair means to me, or what hair means to me as a Black woman in America, but what it means to my culture in general, and the different things that go into it, being a stylist that cares about your clients, and how you can not even just physically change how they feel about themselves, but also recognize some emotional and mental issues that they might be having, or physical issues that they might be having, that sometimes manifest themselves, and actually often manifest themselves for Black women through their hair. Let's see if these play simultaneously. Okay. So as you can see in all of these different things, I'm not sure if they're going to play out like all the time, but this first one, it is two different hairstyles that are very similar from totally different times in our life. And I thought that it was very important to include this in this presentation because these are obviously influences from our past, from things that we might not be able to recognize where it's from because of, you know, how we were brought into this country and the disconnect that we had with our culture. But it's coming back around more and more now, and it's influencing how we feel about ourselves in the future and how we'll treat ourselves in our community and how we'll view hair in the future. So I think it's very important that we're getting back to our roots, and it's going to influence how we see ourselves in the future. And when you talk about beauty standards and how much of an impact it has on your mental health and on where you feel like your place is in the world and what you can do, I think it makes a really big difference. So this first one is pictures from a photographer named John Bassanat that he took in the Ziz Valley of Morocco from women in that area between the early 1930s and 1940s. And the second picture is by photographer Amanda Lopez, and the stylist is Tanya Melendez. And as you can see, there's definitely a modern touch to the second version, but it's definitely it has some inspiration from the first. And because that one is from 2017. So to see that something that's so far in the past, and even though the pictures were taken in the 30s and 40s, those are traditional hairstyles that have been around for centuries. So us recognizing that those are things that are from our culture and integrating it back into our culture now and making it kind of have a futuristic spin, I think is really important and inspiring if you're very interested in Black culture and the way that hair influences our culture. So you can see in the second picture that there's actually door knockers in the person's hair to kind of represent the jewelry that's in the first. And if you're not kind of familiar with that, door knockers is a very popular earrings that a lot of Black women wear that we can get from the beauty supply store. So it's kind of like a one-stop shop. Get your hair, get your, you know, your jewelry, and you're ready to go. And the fact that they incorporated this into a style and pulled from that past inspiration, though these types of things really inspire me, because I look at all of these things as art in their own way, and to make them into a piece like this and to present it to the world, it makes me feel more comfortable doing the same thing and putting something that might not necessarily always be seen as art into that spotlight. The second picture is pictures from the Zulu women of South Africa, taken by A.M. Dugan Cronin. I believe it was in the early 1900s, and Lupita from the Met Gala in 2016 by her stylist Vernon Francis. And or I think it's Francois, I might have misspelled that. But the important thing about this was, to me, is that, you know, the Met Gala is very interesting and big event. And when Lupita was very clear about what her inspirations were for this look, being from the different tribes in Africa, and even Nina Simone and how she recreated this look later on, Vogue kind of took that and made their own spin and said that Audrey Hepburn was the inspiration for this look. And Lupita and her hairstylist felt the need to come out and say, no, that's not what it is. And I think that type of thing is very important, because if we don't necessarily speak up for what our inspiration is, it sometimes will help them, not even them, but help a culture to delete what is very important and inspirational to us. Now, some people, or not some people, a lot of African Americans might not come from the South African region of the country, but the similar issues and battles and struggles that South African people face is very familiar to African Americans. And at some points in our history, we've often stood beside their struggles. So I think it's very cool that they're inspired and can be inspired by several different types of tribes in Africa, especially ones that aren't necessarily from our lineage. The second one is a Mang Bitu woman from the Congo, and the photo was taken by Herbert Lang, I believe in 1913. And of course, I'm sure most people can recognize the second one. It's Beyonce from Black is King. And her stylist is Neil Farina, and he himself said that this was his inspiration for this look, and trying to really just show how regal we have been in the past and in the present. This hairstyle was often used to elongate the woman's head to make them seem more regal and to kind of give them a crown look. And as you can see, I feel like that's very, even in this day, that's like the first thing that you think of. This last one is a woman from the Madagascar tribe of Marika. I need to go over these more because I really hate butchering things with my American tongue. It's from 1905, and it's juxtaposed with Rihanna from Vogue UK. I believe that was a couple of years ago, and photographed by Stephen Klein. And these women, this is one picture that I found, but there's several women from the Madagascar area that often had this style, which was basically box braids with kind of like pom-poms at the end. And you've seen, not you, but a lot of us have seen this style over and over again in different ways as we've progressed throughout the 2000s. A lot of people have done this with different hair colors and different expressions, but they're all pulling from this inspiration without even knowing it. And I think it's very important for us to recognize where these styles are coming from, and that not just to say that we're not being original, but that we're pulling from our ancestors and understanding how important these types of things were to them, how important not even just the hairstyle was to them, but the process of styling someone's hair, of getting to know someone, of talking through their issues with them, of recognizing differences when you have someone that is your client over and over again, what's different between their skin and their hair, and kind of helping them on their journey. And this is just, so these are the different ways that I see us healing through beauty. Physically would just be going to the salon, feeling a different way, being uplifted from having your hair change physically. But also, like I mentioned before, if you're with a stylist for most of your life, as was more popular, when our mothers and grandmothers were going to the salon on a regular basis, your stylist is someone that you talk through things. So they're going to help you emotionally and mentally through issues, but they're also going to notice things about yourself that you might not notice because you're not in your hair all the time. So some popular YouTube stars who have started locking their hair went to their loctician and realized that there were some issues happening with their hair, and actually found out that they had cancer through that. So a lot of people don't take into account how big of a part that styling and hairstylists and just people in general that help you through customer service issues, how they can have an impact on your day-to-day life, because they're noticing things about you that you might not notice. They have expertise that you don't have, and they care for you. So I said a lot about hair art in a lot of my homeworks, and I just wanted to give examples here that really inspire me. Shani Crow has done a lot of different inspirational hair braiding. Some of her stuff has been seen on or recreated on Erykah Badu's album, but this one in particular, I believe, was from the one on the left here, was from an Afropunk event where the outside was actually a hut, and all of it was designed in different Ndikra symbols using the beads that young Black girls often use on their hair. And the inside, it might look a little scary, but it is actually a braided installation in a headdress that you've seen, not you, but that we've often seen in African cultures. And in the inside of the headdress is headphones, which allows people to sit down and kind of experience like a virtual oiling of your scalp, and how that sounds, how that feels, and kind of take you back to that space that you might have experienced growing up. I know a lot of women, or just Black men in general, probably grow up like with your mom saying, "Come here, let me grease your scalp." And although it might be annoying, you can't go out with your friends, it's also a form of therapy, someone putting something into your scalp with care, relaxing your scalp. So her idea was for this to be futuristic, but tying it into something that people are so familiar with, I think makes people inspired to, like, at least me, inspired to take the things and the situations that I've grown through and grown up in, and turn them into art and to touch people in different ways. Angela Plummer is based in the UK and just does really amazing work with hair. I like that she doesn't really have any bounds. This is a headpiece that is done with Kanekalon hair that's in red and pink, but if you were to look her up, you would see pieces that she's done that are entire outfits. She does fashion shows all of the time, and this makes me or inspires me to like not live in the bounds of what I see as hair art and where it can be applied and what it can be used to do. Before this, I thought more of like creating, you know, cool styles or cool wigs, because I did make a lot of wigs in my past, and having that be how I explore hair art. But seeing the different ways that she does, the different ways she uses hair and sometimes uses it as a fabric, is very inspiring to me.
Taylor, if we
Mirjam,
could just wrap up in the next minute, that would be awesome. Thank you.
sorry. I was thinking I wasn't going to fit the whole time, and now I'm about to go over. Sorry about that. Okay, so Rajani and Katrina are Rajani is a sculpture artist that uses Kanekalon hair to create different sculptures that would remind us of different hairstyles that we've done. And again, just her being able to use the hair to create a sculptures in different ways and not necessarily just on a person's head, has inspired me to also just do it in a different way. And Katrina, she was my personal hairstylist in DC, and it uses hair to be creative and to also just really make her client feel better. So, okay, so my hair art, how I intend to use this in the future. So in the middle, you'll see something that I've created before. It was called Carefree. It was for something that kind of talked to our how we grew up and things that kind of made us feel nostalgic. So I used braiding hair to create this hopscotch because I really liked to do that when I was younger. I'm not even sure if that's what it's called, but I used the braiding hair to do that in different colors. And when I speak of using or thinking of hair and hairstyling as a way to heal you mentally, physically, and emotionally, psychotherapy is a thing that was created by Dr. Afia. I was in a program with her a couple of years ago, and now I'm seeking for her to be my one of my mentors, to kind of make sure I incorporate that into whatever show I'm doing, whatever pieces of work I'm doing, and really speaking to how this will make people feel. The Hair Sprinkles on the right is by Amber Mims, and I'm currently doing a class because the pieces that I want to create are using the hair sprinkles to show different times in our life that are connected to hair, and also incorporate braiding hair and different types of hair materials into the work. So this is just a preview of the things that I would like to create in the future. Thank you very much.